Hey guys, welcome back to Team Death Slinger. My name is Peter, and today we're finally looking at my Minervamon deck profile for the Sp.Booster 2.0. Finally honed in on some ratios that I'm happy with, so without further ado, 4 copies of Tsunomon from BT6 will still be our egg for Minervamon. Your turn, when you trash a card in your hand using one of your effects, you will trigger draw 1. We have lots of ways we're going to trigger this, and it actually synergizes really nicely with the purple hybrid engine we're going to be using. And this is just going to give us lots and lots of value to find our pieces and get into a Minervamon out front. So 4 copies of this egg I feel like is the best choice in this deck. 4 copies of Ignitemon. When attacking, you can pop one of your other Digimon to delete one of your opponent's unsuspended Digimon with a level less than or equal to the deleted Digimon's level. And the inheritable says when you play a Digimon by an effect, you gain a memory. The memory gain inheritable is really important. This is a cross-heart body, so we do need this for the Mervacross. And you will actually find in this version of the deck, spoiler, you can see the Ogremons over there. This is going to be important for closing out games because we don't have any level 4s that are retaliators just off playing them. So the Ignite's going to be a valuable tool to close out games with our Merva plays. So 4 copies of this is really important in this deck profile. 4 copies of Goblimon from BT14. When one of your effects trashes a card in your hand, you're going to gain a memory. So many ways for us to abuse this. So 4 copies is what we have to run. And then 3 copies of BT16 Ukkomon. This is a hybrid deck at the end of the day. Being able to find a Tamer or find a Digimon piece is really important because we are running a pretty heavy, well, I guess not heavy, but most of our level 4 package is the hybrid package itself. So what we want to build a stack with is our Ogremon. So being able to use this to find the Ogremon is just as important as using it to find our Tamers. It is chip damage, it gets us an extra egg, and it does let us dig deeper. So 3 copies of this is fine. If there was space, I would run 4, but running 3 copies works perfectly fine for me so far. Next, for our champions, we're on 4 copies of the BT14 Ogremon. So this slot either has to go to Ogremon or Dobremon. I'm running Ogremon for several reasons. The first is that this your turn effect, when you trash a card in your hand, you gain a memory. Same thing as the inheritable. This is really strong with the Koichi that we just got. We're start of main. You can trash a card as long as it's a hybrid, you gain a memory. With this on board, if you promote a Goblimon Ogremon stack and then start of main, trash a card, you gain 2 memory, then 1 off the Koichi, so you're gaining 3, and then you draw a card off the Tsunomon. That's really strong, okay? And the reason it's so strong, you can still trigger this with the LadyDevimon, but it opens you up to different plays by getting the memory before you actually have to evo into the LadyDevimon. It opens you up to more sequencing, and it kind of gives a higher skill cap for the deck. So you can run 4 Dobremon here. I feel like it's less efficient. The trade-off is that you have more targets to play back with Mervamon, which is fine if that's what you want. But I found that this card has saved me so many times just off of being able to promote and get memory back. And if you play the older Koichi, that is on play, draw 1, trash 1, with this Goblimon Ogremon stack promoted, you're effectively paying 1 to draw 1 card, trash 1 card, draw another card, and then because of the memory gain, it's 1 memory. So it's just a really great stack to be able to promote and abuse. For our hybrids, we're on 4 copies of the Duskmon. On play and when digivolving until the end of your opponent's turn, you're going to change the original color of one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers to 1 non-white card. And then when attacking, you can evo this into, in this deck, a Velgrmon in the trash, the cost reduced by 1, so 4-0. And then it has an inheritable that says on deletion, you can play a Tamer card with a play cost of 4 or less from your trash without paying the cost. Otherwise, this evos for 3 on a level 3 and 3 on a Tamer. We don't want to put this in a stack, but we can. That on deletion effect is actually really clutch because it can play you back the Mat Ishidas, which in this deck are just powerful, period. It sets you up for your Minervamon plays. It sets you up to grab back things like the Pandemonium Flame if they get milled. So this is just not bad to see in the stack, and it's even better to see on a Koichi. Being able to get the Tamer down that you want without having to hard play it is just fantastic. Sorry, wrong card. 3 copies of Velgrmon from BT18 on play. When digivolving, for each color in your opponent's and Digimon and Tamers have, you're going to trash 1 card from the tops of both players' decks. Then for each card this effect trashed, this Digimon gains 1k DP. End of attack by deleting 1 level 4 or lower purple Digimon. Delete all of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level. What I found myself doing just with this level 3 and 4 package a lot is going Rookie in the back turn 1, playing down a Koichi, and then pretty frequently you see the materials to actually do this play, and then go into your Duskmon, and then evo into the Velgrmon, clear out whatever the opponent has on their board, and then you're just basically free to start playing with the stack that you've built without too much repercussion and getting free memory off the Ogremon Goblimon play. So this little mini package of deleting all of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level can be really strong, especially against decks that are single stack decks. So this is just enabling Minervamon even further for the trade-off that we're no longer playing a really linear deck that just goes big stack, hope you pop Minerva and go wide. Now you have some options, you have some nuance, and being able to capitalize on that feels really good in this deck, and Velgrmon is just so perfect in this role. Then we have 4 copies of the BT3 LadyDevimon. When digivolving, trigger draw 2, trash 2, and the inheritable says when you use an option card, delete one of your opponent's level 3 Digimon. This is just a cycling effect to get our pieces in trash and to gain us memory back on the Ogremon and Goblimon plays. 3 copies of the LadyDevimon X-antibody. On play and when digivolving until the end of your opponent's turn, give one of their Digimon end of attack, delete this Digimon, and then if you have Lady Devi or X-antibody in this Digimon sources, you get a Volay and Zerdrukin token that has blocker retail. The inheritable says when any of your opponent's Digimon are deleted on their turn, you play a level 4 or lower purple Digimon from trash without paying the cost. We are not running any X-antibodies in this deck, so you are solely relying on having Lady Devi in your stack. But I really haven't had any issues with that, and this end of attack trigger still comes up. There's so many Digimon that have protection from the opponent's effects that this is just kind of mandatory in this deck to make sure that you can remove bodies that you can't get rid of otherwise. The Volay and Zerdrukin comes up a lot as a blocker retail. It can wind up getting rushed with the Merva if we get to make that play on the same turn, which is really strong as well, helps you close out games. So I still feel like going the Lady Devi package over the Cerberus X package is just better for this deck. Then we have 3 copies of Minervamon herself. She's retail. Opponent's turn when they play a Digimon, we get a level 4 from trash with no on-plays, and then on deletion, if they have 2 or fewer Digimon in play, we play a level 5 or lower, or a Mervamon from trash without paying the cost. Because of running Matt Ishida in this deck, getting into this and then popping it in the same turn is actually really doable and feels really natural. So this card actually feels better in this version of this deck than it has in several of the past versions of this deck. It feels like a proper Digimon that you don't mind digivolving into, and I'm really glad about that. So 3 copies of this card per usual. And then we have 3 copies of the BT11 Merva. When you play this card, you can Digicross with materials from the trash. On play when digivolving, play a level 4 or lower purple Digimon, or a level 4 lower with the Cross Hearts straight from trash without paying the cost. If you Digicross, you get to play 2 instead of 1, and then everything with Cross Hearts or with retail gains Rush Blocker. So we're trying to play this out with the Minervamon or with the Anubismon to go too wide and start rushing in for lots of checks. It's also really good defensively, but you know, if you're watching this video, you have probably played Merva or Minerva before. You know the deal with this card. 4 copies of the Anubismon. You also probably know what this card does, but again, this is just really good for enabling our Merva plays. If we get into this, we're playing the Merva from the trash and going really, really wide and really ham. If they remove this, that's a shame, but you still get your Merva out of it, so not the end of the world. We are on 1 copy of Ruin Mode still. When digivolving on deletion until the end of your opponent's next turn, all of their Digimon get minus 5k. End of attack, delete this. You get to recover 1, delete one of your opponent's Digimon, and then if you have a Tamer in play, you hatch a Digi-Egg. And then to an empty space. So great for trimming down the opponent's board, blocking them out, making sure they can't play. And then if you want to, this slot is kind of flexible. I tested out Z Millennium on here. I wasn't the biggest fan, but you can trigger the overclock because of the Lady Devi Volay and Zerdrukin token. That can help you close out games if you don't quite have enough gas to close out. And also bottom decks a target, which is really powerful in a meta where lots of things have DP protection, or sorry, deletion protection effects. So the bounce gets around that. And you can also run Death X in the slot. Personally, Ruin Mode has never let me down, so I'm continuing to run it in my level 7 slot. Then we have 2 copies of the Pandemonium Flame. Delete one of your Digimon to delete one of your opponent's unsuspended Digimon with a level less than or equal to the deleted Digimon's level. This is how we're popping our Minervamon. 4 copies of Wisdom Training as our search package, because we do only have a partial hybrid package. We still do need Wisdom Trainings to get our stacks built, and that is actually really, really powerful with the Matt Ishidas, because we can be set to 3, have the Wisdom Training. You go into Lady Devi with the Wisdom Training, you're gaining 2 back off of your stack, so you are actually netting positive memory on the play. You'll go up to 4, and then you can evo into the Minervamon and then Pandy Flame and do all that shenanigans. So this card is definitely mandatory in this deck. Then we, for our Tamers, have 2 copies of Matt Ishida. Start of your turn, if you have 2 memory or less, you set your memory to 3, so he is a mem setter, obviously. On play, you return a purple Digimon card or purple option card from the trash to your hand. This is actually a big deal in this deck, because Velgrmon does mill a lot of your pieces, and this is a piece-reliant deck. We are technically doing a combo. We're trying to pop the Minervamon in order to go wide and get lots of value. So, Matt Ishida being able to grab back any piece that you're missing, either being able to grab you back the Ruin Mode so you can lock out your opponent, grabbing you back the Pandy Flame so you can pop your stack, or actually in the game today, it grabbed me back the Ogremon because I didn't have a level 4 in play. So don't underestimate the power of this Tamer. He is definitely required in this deck. I tried playing him at 1, did not see him enough. 2 is the perfect number where you see it enough to grab back the pieces that you want. 3 copies of the BT7 Koichi. On play, draw 1, trash 1, and then on deletion, gain a memory. Great for the aggressive Duskmon plays, and then like we mentioned earlier, if you have a Goblimon Ogremon stack, you can plop that bad boy down for 1 memory, draw 1 card, trash 1 card, and then draw another card off the Tsunomon. It's just really great value. And and then 2 copies of the BT18 Koichi. Start of your main phase, by trashing 1 card with the Hybrid or 10 Warriors trait in your hand, you gain a memory. And then when attacking, you can return a card with the Hybrid or 10 Warriors trait from your trash to the hand. The when attacking is really useful for grabbing back your Duskmons to make sure that you can actually keep doing your funny hybrid plays. But otherwise, you do only have the 7 targets to trash for the Koichi effect, but if you ever resolve it with the Goblimon Ogremon on the board, it's going to pull its weight just right then and there. It's going to gain you the 2 extra memory and draw you a card off the Tsunomon. So I do find myself wanting to see it enough that 2 copies is fine, and I promise it's going to be a useful card more than it's going to be a dead card. I know how weird it seems to want to run this when you only have 7 viable targets for the pitch effect, but it does its work. So that is it for my Minervamon deck profile. I'm really happy with this version of the deck, so let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Let me know if you are playing Minervamon in Special Booster 2.0. That's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day. Thank you to our YouTube members for supporting this channel. It's people like Langlong and Big Z11 who make videos like this possible.